Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of Mount Deurklink. Now, it's a hot summery day here, so I think this is the perfect day to work on this cool mountain park. Now, in the last episode I worked some more on this Candyland area, but yeah, I kind of want to work on a new area, so I'll just save this for a later episode. The area I want to work on is actually right over here. So here we have this area which is now reachable by a train and which will soon also be reachable by chairlift. But yeah, I kind of want to make a dueling coaster in this map. I think this area right over here will be a nice place to put a dueling coaster. Now, the ride that I want to do is actually, I actually want to make a dueling stand-up twister coaster. Now, you don't see these often, but the reason I want these rides is so I can make two rides, one about skiing and one about snowboarding. I guess those will be fun themes for the rides which duel against each other. And because guests are usually standing up on skis and on snowboards, I think the B&M stand-up twister coaster will be the perfect ride to represent these sports. Now, the first thing I will do is that I will move this station a bit outwards, so it's less in the way. And that will give me some more space here to actually make the stations of the rides and their return tracks. Now, I'm not really sure how I'm going to make the tracks yet, but at least I do want to have the station somewhere around here. Then they will travel up the chain lift together. I think I will both make them do pretty much their own thing, but I will let them interact in 2 or 3 places, kind of like dueling dragons used to do at Universal Studios Park. Alright, I will first move the station outwards and then I'm going to begin on the roller coasters. Okay, let's just take a look at the track as it has been built so far. So here's the station of the ride. The coasters travel up the chain lifts next to each other. The cyan one travels through a loop, while the other one travels through a barrel roll that passes through the loop. Then after that, the green coaster passes through a cobra roll, and the cyan coaster passes through a dive loop. And right now, after that, I'm struggling a bit to see what to do next. I think I'm going to make this trench here a little bit deeper. This will be where the coasters travel at the end, before they hit the brakes. I think I'll make this a little bit deeper. This gives me some a little bit more height to play with here. Okay, it looks like we have a little litter problem here, but it's just placing a few litter bins immediately solved the issue. So yeah, that's good. That was actually really easy to solve. Anyway, let's get back to our coaster. So I just put the entrances and exits. So now I just need to give the ride vehicles a color, but I can already test the ride. So yeah, I just simulated it, and there it seemed to work properly. But let's give it a spin for real now. Now, one thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to make the minimum waiting time a bit longer, because I want the trains, when I don't never want any trains to be waiting on top of the chain lift. Because if the trains are still in the track, they probably won't arrive at the block breaks exactly at the same time. So then one train will be leaving this chain lift block section earlier than the other. So yeah, I always want the trains to arrive here either with these trains still in the station, or while they're traveling up the chain lift. So you can do that by setting the minimum wait time higher. 40 seconds, I think that should be enough, but we'll see. Another thing I did here is that I made the chain lift, the lift hill change speed a little bit higher, and that also makes it so that after these trains leave the block breaks, I put some chain lifts here on the only on the outside track, and that will make it so that the outside train is a little bit faster than the inside train, and that should make them arrive at the station approximately at the same time. But yeah, I will have to see how well they time up here. This part is really not the most important. I really just want them to arrive at these block breaks at the same time. Anyway, let's give the ride a go while I recolor these trains. Okay, it looks like I need to make the green train a little bit a little bit faster, but thankfully I can easily do that, because the way I made this track, it's easy to just remove two of these sloped pieces. Alright, this looks like perfect timing to me. Now, as you may be able to see, one of them now leaves a little bit early than the other one. And that's because in test mode, the coasters don't always listen to the set minimum waiting time. So yeah, that's why they now left too early, and that will cause them to desync more and more. So yeah, this issue will actually be solved when I actually open the ride. So what I think I will do now is quickly make a path. I'll quickly make a queue path and a path to connect these rides to the town, so that guests will actually be able to ride it. And yeah, that should also solve this syncing issue. And of course it will also give the guests a new thing to ride. Okay, now one thing that's interesting to see is that most of the guests are actually heading for, the green Twister coaster. Now it actually has stats that are a little bit higher, so probably that's why it's a bit more popular. Both of these rides are new, but yeah, most of them seem to be heading to Steel Twister 1. Probably because it has an excitement rating that's a little bit higher. But yeah, thankfully enough of them are also heading to the other one. So maybe with some path manipulation I can actually get more guests to go to this one. But yeah, for now I'm okay with it. Because as you can see, a lot of guests are also heading for this one. So the queue is also getting pretty full. Okay, now there's still a lot of landscaping to do. But first I'm going to work on the transfer track. I left some space here for the transfer track. It's something that's often forgotten when people make dueling coasters. But yeah, this space right next to here, this will be a great space for a sliding track and a little storage building. I think I will make the storage building somewhere over here, just so we have an extra building to fill this plaza that will come here. Now, in the meantime, I will also make the minimum waiting time a little bit lower, so the trains don't have to wait here. Okay, I just discovered that a lot of the tracks that I've built don't actually have names yet, so I'm just giving them names now, quickly. It's usually a good idea to give your track texture rides a name, because yeah, I always find it a bit silly to see a track texture being used, and then if it then just has a name like a wooden coaster one. So yeah, that's why it's usually a good idea to give them a name, especially when you use them a lot in contests, because if you don't, it just looks a little bit lazy. Now actually in big parks like this, I typically use my rides for multiple things. For example, we have, this is probably a bad example, but yeah, I often use wooden coaster for roofs and for for catwalks, for more than one thing quite often. So then I just call them like something like a wooden coaster track, something like that. But yeah, that's really what I only do in the bigger parks where I use them for more things. When in the smaller contest parks where I only use them for one thing, I will typically name them after what I'm trying to represent with them. For example, we have some dodgems here. I just call these glass roof, because that's what I'm using them for here. Okay, that's the transfer track and the storage building done. Now, one thing you should keep in mind when building in a snowy map is that usually the buildings will have pointy roofs, because if a building has a flat roof and there's a lot of snow in it, it adds a lot of weight to the building. So that's usually something that people try to avoid when making buildings in a snowy area. This way the snow will fall off more easily. Anyway, I'm kind of happy with the transfer track. I think it looks quite nice here in the area. Now I added some yellow just to have some contrast with the rest of the colors. I think it makes the transfer track stand out more. I quite like it. Okay, so now it's time to build a station for the ride. Now I don't really know how I'm going to build this station yet. I'm probably just gonna wing it. Alright, it's getting quite late now, so I'm going to end this episode here. So yeah, I've made a start on the station, and of course I've made the transfer track. So there's still quite a lot of landscaping to do under the coaster to make it look right. But I think we can end this episode with a ride on both these coasters. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching me build. I really had a lot of fun building this coaster. And I'll see you again in the next episode. See you later.